Welcome everyone to Truck Talk. This is Week 10 recap on the NFL. I'm your host Rick Dolo, joined by my co-host VIP over there. What's happening, V?
What's going
All
on,
right,
player?
man. Good for you to be here, man. Another beautiful day in the trucking industry and football, of course. And this week, Week 10, man, we had another exciting week of football in the NFL. I mean, it was absolutely amazing. Some of the upsets, some of the different things happening along the league. We had Cam Newton coming back for the Panthers. We had, man, just upsets out of this world, man. Why don't you go ahead and kick it off for us, get us started?
Will do. Without further ado, we have the Baltimore Ravens seeing the Miami Dolphins, and that starts the week off with an upset. The Miami Dolphins upset Baltimore Ravens 22-10. Miami's defense did it, and Baltimore's defense didn't. It's simple as that. It was the defense of Miami that helped win that game, and we see that Tua is the better option. They put in Brissett. Brissett didn't do much. He did move the ball down the field. But the scores came on the board when Tua got back in the game. And then they had a old lineman score. Huh. That was wild. He was out there looking
Yeah,
like a running back. What you got to say
yeah.
about it?
Well, they took that one back, didn't they?
Yeah, they
The
took that
one
one
with
back.
the old lineman, yeah,
It was a
because
nice highlight, but they took that one back. Yeah.
it was a nice highlight because he made a heck of a dive, man. I'm glad he didn't hurt himself the way he dived into the end zone.
Right.
But man, he
Right.
he put it all out there, man.
That not just the dive, the juke. He was juking.
Yeah, he went and got it. He dude went
Yeah.
and got it. I'm like, man, maybe that need to be the new bus or something. I don't know, man. But it was an excellent game, man. And I've been saying it time and time again when it comes to the Ravens. It's like, hey, they wait to the end of the game to try and step it up and do their thing, and it didn't work this week. You know what I mean? You got to play a complete game. You got to play four quarters in this league if you want consistent victories. I mean, they still have a winning record and everything, but they couldn't overcome it. And the Dolphins came to play. And you better believe they have been looking at the Ravens all season. They say, hey, if we could just get off to a good start and hold off and stay consistent, we could pull this one out. And that's exactly what happened, man. Lamar Jackson had one of his worst games in his man, just astonishing career thus far. And the Dolphins were able to pull it off. Something interesting, kind of a recurrent thing this week is how teams who are indecisive on their quarterbacks, or maybe they have injuries and therefore they have to switch quarterbacks in and out. Um, Starting, you see a lot of success with that, and I think that's because the defenses aren't prepared for both quarterbacks. So when you have those two different quarterbacks coming in, given with their strong suits for each quarterback having different strong suits, poses difficulties for the defense. So I think that actually kind of plays in the favor of those teams. But yeah, Dolphins pulled this one out, man. I didn't call that one, uh, but they got the win. They got the W.
Yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
So we move on to the next game. We have the Buffalo Bills and the New York Jets. This is no surprise, but you did take that one. I chose the Jets. They was on the upward trajectory, and I thought the Bills were on a downward trajectory, and that the Jets would pull it off. But I was wrong. White Mike, as you call him, he looked like a Jets quarterback last week. And he looked like a Jets quarterback. He threw four picks. It was like he was like Oprah out there. You get a pick, you get a pick, you get a pick. He was out there just letting it go to everybody. Um, the Bills, as you specified before, the Bills look good against losing teams, and again they look good against the Jets. What you got to say about it?
I mean, it's exactly that, man. It was the Jets. The Jets have kind of been doing a little better than how they started off the season. However, they are still the Jets, and they don't have a defense. And that's the Bills' specialty is running up the scoreboard. As you can see, they scored 45 points in this game. Josh Allen did his thing. Diggs had 162 yards receiving. Had an amazing game. and they went ahead and took care of business, man. The Jets got to get some defense, man. I mean, they got some potential on the offensive side. You know, they could get some, some key players and key positions, and along with Mike White, who I think really has some pretty good potential. I think the future is bright for them as long as they go ahead and get that defense together. But yeah, the Bills, they bounced back from last week when they had that loss, and did it did it in a solid way. So yeah, they pulled that one out. 45-17 Bills, man.
Yep. All right. On to the next upset. So we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers losing to the Washington football team,
Uh,
29-19. Where's Brady? Where's Brady? Where's the Brady we know?
man.
He out there throwing picks. And he starts the first quarter, throwing two picks in the first quarter. Unlike Brady, Washington
Uh,
football team came out to play. They upset the
uh,
Buccaneers. Uh, it it just was awful how the Tampa Bay Buccaneers showed up for that game. What you got to say about the game?
is Brady getting old? I don't know. I don't know, but he wasn't himself out there. Um, man. Hey, let's face it. Brady needs weapons to be able to throw to, and with Gronk not playing in the game, I mean, he played in the beginning, then he ended up leaving again. He wasn't himself, back spasm, stuff like that. He's been going through that like the past couple of weeks. I mean, this isn't the first game where Brady's throwing multiple interceptions. And then you got Brady getting into it with the coach over there and stuff like that. Missing Belichick yet? Are we? The guy who bring nobodies and make them somebodies and had that nice offensive scheme for you to get you together. I really think he is, man. He's probably missing Belichick right about now, and he's wondering like, what the heck have I gotten myself into? Especially with Gronk falling off, all he got is Mike Evans, who's really dependable, who he can throw it to, but he needs somebody to bail him out on those 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8 situations, and he just doesn't have that guy anymore. So this league is pretty much premised off of third down conversions, and at this point, they just don't have that strong suit anymore. Washington, Heineke, man, somebody give me a Heineken, man. That guy, 26 of 32, 256, one touchdowns, clean game, no turnovers, looked pretty solid, man. So really, really enjoyed that. And man, that man Heineke, man, somebody give me a Heineken because 26 of 32, 256 yards and a touchdown, man. Just a solid game. Nothing too spectacular, but just a clean game. No turnovers, man. Gave his team an opportunity to win. So, yeah, they pulled it out. Washington over the Bucks, 29-19. Didn't expect that one either.
It's funny you said Brady's getting old, and he was out there like he was colorblind, going to the Washington football team. The jerseys colors was similar, not the same, but similar to their home jersey. So he was
Is that
he
what it
was like he
was?
was. It's like he was home and just going to the Washington football team secondary. That's what it looked like.
Yeah, man.
All right,
It
so
was
we can move
rough.
on. We can move on to the Dallas Cowboys against the Atlanta Falcons. The
Yeah.
Dallas Cowboys came back from that upset last week. They won 43-3 against the Falcons. They really came back, and Michael Gallup was back. He returned to the team after his injury. What you got to say about it?
Man, it was a beat down. What do you mean? What I got to say about it, man? The Cowboys came out there. They wasn't playing with nobody. They had took that L. What was that, last week or something? Week
Yeah.
before? Yeah, I think it was last week. Man, they took that L last week. They came back. They bounced back. Matty Ice. They put him on ice. You hear me? Matt Ryan wasn't doing nothing. He couldn't get anything going. What we have? Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn, DC, buddy. Dan Quinn did his thing. He wasn't playing, man. That offensive scheme, I mean, the defensive scheme that he put together for those Falcons, man, for that game was invincible. He looked like he played for Marvel because he had the doggone Iron Man shield on his boys or something, man. I don't know. 29 points in the second quarter, man. 29 points in the second quarter. When you have a second quarter like that, you could do some things. And then they pretty much just put in cruise control with from there and just let their defense take over. I think they scored like 7 more points after that point or something like that. But yeah, Cowboys took care of business, man. You should be proud. Cheers.
I'm not necessarily that proud because it was the Atlanta Falcons, but it's funny you should mention Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn showed the Falcons that, yeah, I'm a great coach. Yeah, y'all got rid of me, so let me give me some payback. He made sure it
Hmm.
was 36-3 at halftime.
Yeah.
36-3. It was already
Yeah.
Falcons fan leaving Dallas trying to go back to Atlanta trying to catch their flight already at halftime. Man, it
Yeah.
just was a dog fight out there for them boys.
It
Them
was,
boys was out
man.
there. Them boys out there getting. Now Atlanta looked good on their first drive. They came down the field. They scored 3 points, and they couldn't even smell the end zone no more the rest of the game. No, them Cowboys put it on them. But I will say this. I will say this. I don't really follow conspiracies, but come on, we lost to the Denver Broncos. That 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 lost this week against Philly. Our boy Diggs did not have a pick in that game, and then he gets a pick again in this game. So he's back to leading the league in picks. So he skipped the game. He didn't want to break the record from a legend to get 8 straight picks, 8 games with a pick. But now he's back to getting a pick. Come on, man. There's something up with that. You know what I'm saying? Just my little conspiracy. But we'll move on. We'll move on.
All right, man.
All right. So we got the Tennessee Titans coming in against the New Orleans Saints. This was a close game. Tennessee pulled it off 23-21. What you got to say about that game? Still, we don't have a Derrick Henry. I think he's going to be out for the season. All right, but they still pull out the victory. What you got to say?
Yeah, man. One thing about the Titans, man, they just find ways to win games, and that says a lot, man, because it's not always pretty. Tannehill isn't the best quarterback in the league or anything like that, but some guys just have that it factor about them. Tannehill is one of those guys. He doesn't have to throw for a lot of yards. He's gonna do just enough to get the job done. He puts the ball where it needs to be. He has good placement on the ball, pretty decent arm, and he has just a big, solid, um, just old school football team, man. Just really fundamental. They just really get the job done. The Saints actually played them tough, man. I really like the way the Saints came out and played that game. And in fact, they lost by two, and Johnson, the kicker, missed two PATs. So that'll let you know right there. Had he made those two PATs, that potentially could have won the overtime. Who knows what the results of that game could have been? That's how close that game was. Your boy Johnson was over there balling. Simeon, man, the new Drew Brees or what, man? I mean, Simeon was balling, man. I really like the way Simeon was looking, man. The Saints are trouble, man. They trouble. Maybe not this year, but if they keep that core together, man, they can really do something. I mean, they only a year removed from Drew Brees, so they got a solid team still. But I mean, Simeon just came in there. He looked good, man. The Titans, like I said, just consistent. Foreman, the running back over there, looks good. Johnson had 100 yards receiving, man. Hey, just an overall good effort and a nice way to just squeeze out the win.
Yeah, it was a close game. Tennessee's defense had to step up in the end and stop the 2 point conversion. That's what got them the victory. Otherwise, we'd be looking at OT for them and seeing maybe the Aints would have pulled it off. But their defense stopped them for the 2 point conversion to go ahead and secure the win. But we'll move on to the next game. We have the Indianapolis Colts and the Jacksonville Jaguars. We both picked Indiana. Indiana won 23-17. What you got to say about them?
Man, Jonathan Taylor, That's what I got to say about him.
Yeah,
Jonathan Taylor, that dude, man, he was running like a beast. Like he was running like a man possessed, man. Like something just jumped in his body. The dude was out his body. I mean, like he was going there hard, man. I really like that performance out of him. And to be honest with you, that's the reason they won because of Jonathan Taylor. Because they was
yes,
handing the ball off, and especially in the second half, like 80% of the time. Like, I mean, that might be a slight exaggeration, but man, Jonathan Taylor was balling. The Jaguars didn't play a horrible game. What Agnew had a couple
Ooh,
nice runs in that game.
yes, he
Dude
did.
was fast. Not a big guy, but fast. Um, Trevor Lawrence was 16-35, 162. Didn't really do too much, man. Trevor Lawrence still trying to, get into his comfort zone, and the Jaguars are really kind of suffering, because of that, and not really having too many threats deep. So it is what it is. Coach pulled it out though, man. 23-17.
Yeah, as you said, Jonathan Taylor, he's the beast. He had 116 yards and a touchdown. That really what carried the Colts. Um, Jacksonville actually could have won this game. It was a close game for them. They are off by a touchdown. If they'd have scored a touchdown and got the extra point, they win.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Uh, and then you look at Carson Wentz, he's not doing much. There was T.Y. Hilton was got one reception. I think it was 5 targets of T.Y. Hilton, and he only caught one. He wasn't a non-factor in the game. It was all the running game. Jonathan Taylor, he was a beast. You know what I'm saying? He was a beast. I
Yeah.
think he even caught 5 passes out of the backfield. It wasn't for much yards. I think he got 10 yards out of that. But still, you got to worry about him coming out the backfield catching passes. You got to worry about him coming out the backfield running down your throat. And then he's gonna score. He's gonna score. And then he's not by himself. So you got to look for a two-headed monster in the backfield. That's what you got to prepare for when you're going against Indy. You don't have to worry about the passing game as much, especially when that one running game is going strong. But that's enough about them. We'll go on to the next game. Wow, this is I don't know what to say about this. The Detroit Lions and the Pittsburgh Steelers. A tie? Really? A tie? 16-16. You got the Detroit Lions at 0-8, tying Pittsburgh Steelers. There was no Big Ben. I don't know how much of a factor that was, but without Big Ben, they just couldn't get over the top. So the Lions were able to stay in there. Swift, Swift looked good as a running back, against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And it's not to say that he's not a quality running back, but we just don't see these numbers from him. He had a pretty good day. Again, the game still ended in a tie. They couldn't score in OT. I just don't know how you do that as a Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know what to say about the Steel Curtain fans. Y'all let Detroit come in there, who hasn't won a game this year, and compete with y'all like that. You got
Yeah.
anything to say about it?
Yes, I do. Man, somebody sit Jared Goff down, man. Sit that man down, man. He need to go back to college or something, cause dude ain't where it's at. I mean, what Jonathan Taylor was, um, that's what Swift was in this game. You know what I mean? Swift got them that tie. Swift took them there. Like you say, you don't see them type of numbers out of him, but I don't know. Like I say, he looked possessed, man. Looked like somebody just jumped in his body because this guy was just he got that ball and he was gone. He was breaking tackles, everything. He was really pressing the issue, man. So I really like that performance out of him. Steelers didn't have Big Ben. That's all that was, man. Simple as that. And that's why you got the tie. And that's all I have to say about that.
All right, all right. So we'll go ahead and move on to the next one. We have the Cleveland Browns against the New England Patriots. You chose Patriots. I chose Cleveland. Not necessarily a surprise that they won, but it was a surprise the margin of victory. We got 45-7. I mean, New England's defense, it was, ooh, they were murder out there, boy. I could not believe it. Uh,
Uh,
they got the first score of the game. Cleveland Browns did. They got the first score of the game, and that was the only score of the game. They went
uh-huh.
down the first drive, and that was it. They didn't smell the end zone anymore. Uh,
Uh,
Nick Chubb got hurt, so that that hurt Cleveland Browns. Um, what you got to say about it, man?
yeah, man, it was one of them old school beatdowns. Like you say, Chubb got hurt, but to be honest with you, I don't think Chubb would have done too much even if he was in the game. I mean, he might have did a little bit better, but yeah, the way the Patriots came out there, man, let me tell you something. The Patriots are underrated. They're not going to stay underrated, though. Trust me. They're gaining steam. They have a rookie quarterback. The Listen to that. The Patriots. Do you hear what I'm saying, VIP? The Patriots have a rookie quarterback, and they are playing the way that they are playing. When I say Belichick is a mastermind, man, to me, the needle is pointing a little bit in the direction of Belichick over Brady when it came to that old age-old question: was it Belichick or was it Brady? You see how Brady doing over there in Tampa, and you see how Belichick doing with a whole new lineup of players. Belichick is beasting. That's what the B stand for in the Belichick. Beasting. The guy is ball. The guy got that squad over there balling. For some reason, he just got a knack of knowing what players to pick. He like that guy right there. And dude come out throw like 7 touchdowns. NFL record. Well, that maybe not NFL, but still, you know what I'm saying, man. This dude is amazing, man. I don't know what it is about Belichick, but he gets the best out of his players. Um, Mac Jones, deadly, man. Deadly. Especially with the accuracy, man. He is on point. They kept possession of the ball. They were run committed. Some you didn't see quite as much out of them, but they knew what they had to do against the Browns because the Browns had that such a powerful front four on that defensive side of the ball. So they stayed committed to the run. They did a combination of reverses, screens, draws, play fakes, and quick throws to keep the Browns on their toes. And that's how they beat the Browns with coaching. Good old fashioned coaching and execution. And man, they did. They beat them. They gave them a beat down, beat down.
Yeah, they exposed the
Yeah,
Cleveland Browns run defense.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
they did move the rock on the ground quite often, quite easily at that.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, they had the they had the reverses with the wide receivers and everything. Um, and to speak on Belichick, he started off as a defensive coach, and we showed 45-7. Oh, that's defense all day. That's
Hmm.
defense all day. Baker Mayfield out there throwing picks. Uh, he was seeing stars because that defense was on him yesterday.
Then he went out the game too. Baker Mayfield didn't play the whole game.
Yeah, they brought in Colt McCoy. Or, no, Colt, not Colt McCoy. Uh, they brought
Keenum.
in their back. Yeah,
Keenum.
Casey Keenum. Yeah, they brought
Yeah.
in Casey Keenum, and he was seeing the same thing. He was seeing stars too. The defense got on him. Man. They still couldn't
Yeah.
score. Well, no matter what quarterback you put back there. We had the Minnesota Vikings against the Los Angeles Chargers. I chose the Chargers, and you chose the Vikings, and the Vikings pulled this off, the 27-20. I can't give
Yeah.
Kirk. I can't give Captain Kirk his credit. Uh, that was the Minnesota's defense that kept them in the game.
Hey,
Uh,
don't hate on Kirk, baby. Don't hate on Kirk, baby.
did he score? Did he throw a touchdown?
Hold on. What was the score of the game?
27-20.
Oh, okay. That's what I thought. It don't matter if you scored or not. They won the game, player.
He's not getting credit from me. They had Cook out there being Cook. He looked true to form. Uh, and they just They was able to beat the Chargers that with the defense. Herbert was seeing stars too, or the ground or something, because that's where he was at the most of the game. Um, he was getting sacked left and right by that Minnesota defense. So the Purple People Eaters were eating up on Herbert last game. So that's where the victory come in. You can say what you want to say. I ain't giving Captain Kirk his credit.
Hey man, you ain't gotta give Kirk his credit. You know what I mean? Kirk went in that locker room with the W. That's credit enough. And I saw this one coming. I picked the Vikes. I remember when I picked them, you was looking at me like, picking the Vikings? But yeah, I picked the Vikings. Shoes. I mean, the Chargers, yes, they a lethal offensive team, but they still kind of fresh. They still kind of new in the league, and they ain't got their defense all the way together, and they can still be fooled. You know, they have a young quarterback. The Vikings been playing solid ball. I figured the game would be close. And you know what? The Vikings have been playing close games all season. All season. And one thing about it is if you continue to do the same thing over and over and over again, you're gonna get a little bit better at it. So when it comes to close games, I like the Vikings because they well versed at it. You know, they know about them close games and how to try and muscle it out. Don't get me wrong, I ain't a huge Kirk fan either, but he got the W. He managed the game well enough to get the W, and that's all that matters. I give a man his credit where credit is due. You feel me? Unless they playing the Bears. That's about it. I'm out. Let's go.
All right. Just for you, Herbert, one bit of advice: run the ball. Don't be holding it in the backfield that long. You holding the ball for 8 hours back there. It's not a work day. It's not a nine to
Said 8
five back there.
hours.
Go ahead and run the ball, throw it away. That's all I got to say about that. Let's move on. Oh, we got Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers versus the Arizona Cardinals. Now let's go back into time real quick.
I'm
Let's go back in time real
back.
quick. Let's go back in time real quick. So if we go back in time, Cam's rookie season. You remember what I said a few moments ago about conspiracies? Cam's rookie season, his first game out was against the Arizona Cardinals, and he set a rookie record.
Mm,
Comes back to Carolina, first game back. Who was it against? The Arizona Cardinals.
mm.
And the boy went off. Conspiracy much? I don't know. Hey, I'm just talking. What you got to say about it?
Man, I don't know. But Cam didn't even play the whole game. This is another example of them rotating quarterbacks, and you don't know which quarterback they gonna have out there. You don't know what their strong suit's gonna be. You don't know what they gonna lean towards. You got two different game plans for two different quarterbacks. And I mean, although it wasn't really like, oh, we gonna use the two quarterbacks to get through them. I wonder if it's kind of clicking in these coaches' heads, like, that's a thought. Maybe if I utilize two good quarterbacks, maybe I could throw the defense off because one may be more effective than the other, or just hitting them with that 1-2 combination kind of helps because it was a constant thing that we saw this week in the NFL. Cam Newton came out there and he just brought life to the Carolina team. Carolina already is not a bad team, but they're not really a great team either. But when he came in there, he brought life. He was energetic. But you know what? It's still Cam Newton. Cam Newton can play. We know Cam Newton can play. But Cam Newton has his shortcomings, we should say. So it'd be interesting to see what he does. He has been in the league. Believe it or not, Cam Newton has been in the league. He just hadn't been starting. You know what I mean? But he been bouncing around a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see how Cam performs now that he is back, so to speak. Crazy that he went back to Carolina though after starting his career there. Then he ended up right back. Like y'all playing hot potato with Cam Newton. What's going on here? But they pulled this one out. The Cards didn't have Kyler Murray. That makes all the difference in the world. I know they backup quarterback got the win last week, but that's one thing about backups and secondary quarterbacks is they can have one good game one week and another week it's a whole nother, it's a whole nother equation when they got time to prepare for you and just get that game plan intact. Um, yeah, so that was pretty much it, man. No Kyler Murray, just open that all the way up for Cam to come in there and bring his energy into that game.
Yeah, yeah, it showed. It showed. The Carolina
Yeah.
Panthers took that 34-10. All right, so we'll move on to the next one. Going to the NFC East. We got the Philadelphia Eagles going against the Denver Broncos. I did pick Philly to win this one. You picked the Broncos,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Philly won that 30-13.
yeah.
Uh, uh, you know, uh, Preseason is over, fellas. Preseason over. Teams are looking like mid-season form.
Oh
So
yeah, oh yeah,
So those mistakes teams were making, those losing records teams had in the beginning, we're starting to see those teams with those losing records starting to win. They're getting in that mid-season form. They're a little later than the rest, but they're here. Uh, Hurts had a good game against the Broncos. Bridgewater had a okay game, but just the Philadelphia Eagles defense did make have fits on them. What you got to say about the game?
man. Bridgewater ball, bro. Like Bridgewater ball. He literally balled. Like I was surprised that he played well. Like Bridgewater was not the reason that his team lost. You know
No,
what I
not at
mean?
all.
Like Bridgewater came in there and he played a good game. The Eagles just played a better game. That's all it is. And really that score doesn't quite tell the whole story. The game was a little bit closer leading up to towards the end of the game, but Bridgewater definitely looked good in that game, or at least decent. You know what I'm saying? Not great or anything, but he looked pretty decent, man. Just the Eagles and Hurts, man. Bridgewater looked okay, but Hurts looked awesome in that game. I mean, that guy's got some potential, man. I like Hurts. Hurts a rookie, ain't he?
No,
Yeah,
not
Hurts.
no, no. He's
No,
no,
what?
he's in
Where
his
is he?
second or third year.
Second or third year?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
He,
yeah.
you had Hurts with Alabama, Tua with Alabama, and Matt Jones also with Alabama. So no,
Okay,
no.
okay, okay.
But Hurts also did go to Oklahoma. He left Alabama, went to Oklahoma,
Gotcha.
and played for the Sooners. So he's not in his rookie season. Uh, the Eagles did draft him, and the fans did question that. They thought they needed help other places, but it's working out
Yeah, yeah. He
somewhat.
definitely bought.
Yeah. All right, so we can move on to the next game. We have the Seattle Seahawks against the Green Bay Packers. We picked this to be the game of the week. It wasn't the game of the week. It was 17-0. Green Bay 17-0. Russell Wilson back in the game, and Green Bay shows Seattle. It don't matter if you got Geno Smith or Russell Wilson back there. It doesn't matter. We're gonna make it look the same. Russell Wilson out there throwing the Green Bay, getting sacked. Green Bay was came to ball. Green Bay balling. Aaron Rodgers didn't do that much, but he did enough to get past the Seattle Seahawks. What you got to say about it?
That's what Aaron Rodgers does. Aaron Rodgers in the cat that come out there trying to blow you out of nothing. Aaron Rodgers gonna beat you. He like, man, I'm a veteran. I ain't man. Look, the game pretty much won. Look, we gonna lay back. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna put it in cruise control. Let the defense do the work because they have a hell of a defense over there. Thus, the Seahawks scored 0 points. Um, the Seahawks and Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson first game back, man. You got to expect that. Hey, he might not be the same. He might be off. He's missed quite a few games. You know what I mean? You got to give him a little time to get back into his true form. I didn't really look at this game any particular type of way. Kind of surprising that they laid a goose egg, but hey, it is what it is, man. We'll see how Russ continues to get back into the swing of the things over the course of the next couple games.
All right, all right. So we'll move on to the next game. Uh, this is another blowout. not necessarily surprising. We had the Kansas City Chiefs winning 41-14 over the Las Vegas Raiders. Uh, it was a must win for KC. You know, KC's been falling off. We was beginning to wonder where's the Mahomes magic, and this still wasn't Mahomes magic. These receivers were getting open. Yes, he did throw touchdowns, and nothing to take away from Mahomes and throwing touchdowns, but it just wasn't the magic that we normally see, where he's throwing no look passes, throwing unbelievable passes where you didn't believe it would get to the receiver. They were open. They were beating this secondary like they were scrubs. So he was having a field day. He was playing pitch and catch out there.
Yeah.
So it wasn't Mahomes magic, but it was still magical in the win. Beating them by beating them 41-14. What you got to say about it?
Yeah, actually, we picked the Raiders, and
Yeah,
that was because KC hadn't showed us anything this year. Um, KC played a couple mediocre teams the past couple weeks, and now they played the Raiders, who appeared to be a little bit better than some of the competition the past week or two. But with KC just not being in their typical form, just kind of thought the Raiders might edge them out. I guess they proved us wrong because KC came out and ball, man. They put up 41 points, something they hadn't done in a while, man. So I was really impressed at the way that they kind of jumped back into the swing of the thing. You could tell they were excited as well. Their demeanor on and off the field and after the game, you could see they were kind of geeked up. They was like Fabo and them and that. I'm geeked up, geeked up. You know what I'm saying? Like they was really enjoying it and having a good time and just having fun out there, which is what you really got to do. That's when you playing your best, when you having fun out there playing football. You know what I mean? So they doing their jobs, having fun, beating fools. 41-14. That's what they do, man. That's how KC's supposed to do. So we gonna continue to watch them and see if they maintain that head of steam that they had from that game.
and this was a rivalry game. And Las Vegas looks to try to beat KC if they don't win any other game. KC looks to beat Las Vegas if they don't win any other game this season. So it was a rivalry game, and so everybody attempted to put their best foot forward. So that's the fun you saw in KC winning. And also, I believe uh, the off season news is catching up with the Raiders. You got Gruden that sat down because of his speculations, and he's also suing the NFL. And you got Ruggs out there who had that incident in the off season. So I think not off season, in off the field. So I think all this backlash is catching up with the Raiders, and they're not to perform to the expectations that they were performing prior to. So we'll move on to the last game of the week. It was a surprise again. We had the Los Angeles Rams and the San Francisco 49ers. San Francisco 49ers pulled this off 31-10. Oh, they did it with the air. They
Yeah.
had Debo Samuel and George Kittle's out there just feasting on them. Uh, Debo Samuel, it was a fourth and fifth, fourth and five. Um, threw it to Debo Samuel's comes across the middle, and he took it for six. He's like, I don't want to just get the first down. I'm going for it all. I want it all.
Yeah.
Uh, and he just kept catching passes. Uh, they did it with Debo Samuels and George Kittles. You got anything to say about this game?
Man, I was shocked. I was shocked. Um, Man, I thought the Rams were gonna clobber them. I really did. I'm like, man, the Rams about to clobber the 49ers. Are you kidding me, man? This is a no-brainer, But as we continue to see, the Rams have not kicked it in gear yet. It's like you have all the pieces, you know. We believe that you have the right coach for the job, you know. Um, what's wrong? What's wrong? Because they're not playing like one of the top teams. Because top teams beat top teams. And this wasn't even a top team right here. San Francisco's not one of the better teams in the league. So what's going on, LA? It's like they still trying to find their identity. They're still trying to figure things out. So, hey, I mean, you got an all-star studded cast over there. Y'all need to figure it out and figure it out quickly. Because when y'all get beat by the 49ers like that, something's wrong. Something's wrong over there. It needs to be resolved quickly. So that's all I got to say about that. And
Yeah, the NFC West, they have four solid teams. They're not playing up to par as they normally were. And so we saw the Rams go to the top of their division, and Seattle was at the bottom with their record. San Francisco was right there in the middle, and San Francisco was trying to be competitive. Just to say one more note about the game: 5 targets to Debo Samuel, 5 receptions. The connection between him and Garoppolo was there. Rams couldn't stop that connection. So that very well was one of the most important things to that victory for the San Francisco 49ers. Well, folks, that concludes another week of football. So our record is 42-27 for my boy Rick Dolo, and I'm sitting at 40-29 with those picks this season. Go ahead and close us out, Rick.
oh man, thank y'all for staying tuned, for coming back, checking us out. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure you tell your deacon them. Don't forget, tell your deacon them, brother, sister, auntie, cousin, sister-in-law, brother, baby daddy on your mama's side. No, not your brother, baby daddy. Sister, baby daddy on your brother, on your mama's side. And come back and check us out next week, same time, same place. We look forward to hearing from you. And don't forget to drop some comments down there in the comment section. I'm Rick Dolo. That's VIP.